Hello, everyone. I'm Ruth Ann Rose of Rose Marketing Solutions in Dallas, Texas. And today we're going to be covering again one of our COVID stories. These are stories that are important to me because I wanted to be able to record for business professionals just the thought processes that other people have gone through during COVID-19 and how they've had to shift their business. And today I have Jeremy Choi with us of LPS Athletic Centre, based out of Toronto, Canada, with us. And so I'm just thrilled that you could be here, Jeremy. I haven't got to interview any other Canadians for this blog interview yet, so this is pretty exciting. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Just want to kind of get started with telling us more about LPS and how you got started or where you were before COVID, whichever way you'd like to take the conversation.
Yeah, well, LPS is strength and conditioning gym at first. First and foremost, what I meant by that is we train athletes and we help athletes to dominate. What I mean by dominate is just whether that's in strength and conditioning, whether that's mental abilities, that's just transforming them, giving them the ability to actually move to the pro level. So we do work with younger kids, competitive athletes as young as 8 years old, all the way to professional Olympians in the NHL, in the NBA, in the NFL, CFL, MLB. So we've been working with multiple athletes. As long as they're in explosive sports, that's kind of what we do. Yeah. And how I kind of got into it, I kind of fell into it by fluke. I didn't study strength and conditioning. It wasn't my background at all. I've always been a competitive basketball player. I played in university. I played in high school. I've always been on the teams, but I realized at 5'7", I was never really going to make it to the NBA. So I kind of gave up sports after university. And it wasn't until probably 10 years ago that my dad introduced me to golf. Said, come play golf. And I'm like, oh, golf, that's an old person sport. I don't want to play golf, right? I'm a basketball person at heart. And I think, oh, golf is not active at all. Anyhow, I took my first shot and I realized, oh, I really love this game. Like it's just that one perfect shot. And I just got hooked on it ever since. And ever since then, I've been trying to improve my performance. So I went all over Toronto looking for the best coach, looking, someone to build my speed up, build my strength up. And I'm hired multiple personal trainers, went to multiple different gyms to kind of do it. And I realized that it wasn't until actually I found this gym. And it was still a small gym when I first got into it. It was a small gym owned by a person by the name of Clarence Layler. He's one of 5 what they call master level strength coaches in Canada. So it's kind of like the highest designated designation you can get as a strength coach. So I enlisted with him. He started teaching me everything about like strength and conditioning, how I should be training for speed and strength and all that kind of stuff. And just within literally like a year's time, he's gotten me from, what I've gained in like 5 years, he did it in 1 year's time.
Wow.
It's crazy. Just the performance gains and just the understanding of the body and what I was training for before was just completely wrong. I was actually slowing myself down the way I was training before, whereas he's teaching me how to actually be faster. So at a 5'7", 150-ish pounds, I'm hitting the ball like 300 yards, right? Wow. And it's fun. It's great. So ever since then, I've kind of like, okay, I understood what he's telling. I kept studying more. He kept educating me more. And the people that come to the gym, all these pro athletes, like PK Subban, from the NHL, just these athletes that are training, you can just see the difference and you can see their kind of testimonials, like what they say. And I realized, oh, this is something different. This is something that is a gem that no one's heard of. It's like a secret weapon for pro athletes, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, I got to get into this. So it was probably about 4 years back, when Clarence wanted to move to a new facility, getting out of downtown to a much bigger and more thought out facility. He actually reached out to me and asked me if I was interested in investing, become a partner.
Wow.
And at that time, I sold my previous business and I was kind of like not really doing much. I was going to just kind of live the retired life. Right.
Wow.
And then he said, come partner. So I looked at it. The financial wasn't like the greatest, but it actually brought back what I felt like was my childhood dream, because I've always wanted to be in the NBA, and now I get the ability to actually train and see these younger athletes actually put on a proper path in order to get there.
Right.
And so that's why I did it. I love it. I mean, for the first couple of years I was in the business, I didn't even take a salary. I worked in the business without taking a salary. I just like, because I loved it that much. It was my passion. All right. I studied the strength and conditioning. I read books on it. I coached on the gym floor. Right. So
That's
just kept
exciting.
learning and learning. So anyways, that's how I got into it. Now me and him are business partners. I act as the CEO of the business. He acts as the coach. So I take care more of where the business kind of goes, the financial and the strategies behind it. He takes care of with the operations and the continuous, I guess, education for, the coaches and the athletes.
Right, right. So how big is the staff there at the gym?
Right now we have about five of us. Five of us.
Well, that's quite a
Yeah.
few. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
that's
not bad. We keep it nice and tight.
yeah.
We get a whole bunch of interns as well.
Mhm.
But if I would say five people are our core.
Okay. So the five of you are rocking along 2019, probably having a great year, right?
We had the best year in 2019.
Same for my company, record
A
year,
record year.
bought
Yeah.
the 2020 goal planner, gonna rock 2020. And then of course,
Hmm.
COVID-19. And of course now we've got other issues going on in our culture as well. So it's very frustrating year for all of us. But it's where humanity shines, right? It's where we all pick ourselves up and figure out what we're going to do next. And that's, more the story that I want to hear. So obviously you're doing great in 2019. COVID comes along. When was that moment when you realized, oh no, life is changing? And then how did you go through the process of making a successful business model change?
Yeah, it was funny because at the December, January, February, we actually like almost like tripled down all of our budget, advertising budget, and we just wanted to blow it out of the water because the previous year we did so well. We had a bit of money, and we dumped all this money into marketing and just building new people. And January, February, we got a huge I guess influx of athletes
Mhm.
coming into the gym and training, and then March hits, right? And that's when, bam, everyone like had to stop. We had to close down the gym. We weren't allowed to open, and people that just got started was just kind of like, okay, do I continue? Do I not? Luckily, I think we had about, I would say, for the first month, we had probably about 20% of the people continue their training kind of membership,
Mhm.
right? They continued paying, but after month two into COVID, right? Then they said, okay, guys, I don't know how long this is going to take, because we thought initially, 2 weeks quarantine, we're just kind of like, we shut down for 2 weeks and we'll be back
Right.
and we'll be good to go again. And 2 weeks later, okay, the Ontario government said, you know what, we're going to implement 4 weeks. Then from 4 weeks, it became 8 weeks. Well, now here we're still not open to this
Right.
day, right? And that's been a huge challenge. So it was depressing. So I would say probably April, it was quite depressing. I was actually in the U.S. I was in Florida in March when me and clients made the decision to close the gym down. Literally, it was actually, we closed it 1 week before they actually made it mandatory to close down. So we try to be proactive and
Right.
let's just close it down. Let's wait it out and see. And I was in Florida at that time, and me and Clance, we were chatting. We're like, oh man, we don't have a lot of money left. We just spent a whole bunch of money. What
Yeah.
are we gonna do? Right. So luckily, fortunately, we had some money left. So we kind of like, we told all the staff like, hey, you guys don't have to, you guys don't have to come in. We're going to close down, but I'm going to take care of all your salaries. If everyone just reduces their salary by like 25-ish%, we can pay everybody and no one has to be let go.
Good. Good.
So that's kind of what we did. So everyone kind of agreed. Instead of letting go one person and being able to pay, the other four, I said, why don't we all lower? Because
Right.
everyone's going to be staying at home. You're not going to be driving. You're going to be eating less. So not as much expenses. So
Right.
everyone agreed to that. And that was one of our strategies to kind of outlive
Yeah.
COVID, for at least, I had a budget for at least a good 2.5, 3 months on the
Mhm.
road. So I figured, okay, that's good. We're good. But, I think we're 4 months in now?
Yeah.
Like or 3.5 months in now. So yeah, it's been pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
fortunately, we've got some help from the government.
Good.
They created some programs that would actually, sorry, 1 second. Hmm? Sorry, it's my little one.
Well, hi, little one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the reality of Zoom anymore.
Yeah,
Hi,
reality.
sweetie.
Say hello, Lola. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So everybody reduced their pay by 25%, so then I don't have to let anyone go.
That's
And
good.
by not letting anyone go, I was able to sustain their salary for another good 3 months while still
Right.
paying rent. The landlord still want to rent and all that kind of
Sure.
stuff. Of course, right? Yeah. But fortunately, the Ontario government did put in some, I guess, financial relief
Mm-hmm.
for us. So we've been okay there. But for the gym wise, we had to shift everything because we couldn't open. The first thing we actually did was actually rented out all of our equipment, anything that you can actually like carry. So a lot of weights and barbells and dumbbells and everything. We just rented it out, and we had a lineup of members wanting it. We just thought, okay, no one's really gonna rent this out, and we're just gonna whatever. But we have a waiting list of 7 people right now that are still waiting for equipment to be returned because they want it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I never would have expected that from my gym. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we didn't rent it out for expensive, but all of our equipment inherently are expensive.
Right.
Like just like a barbell, just a simple barbell, it's about $1,400. But people don't know that because they come to the gym and they just kind of use a barbell. They think, it's just a
Right.
barbell, right? But we buy some of the best barbells you can actually buy. And to rent it out, it will cost them, almost like $40 a month, right? They're like, really? I have to pay $40 for a barbell? And then the weights that we have, a set of weights, just these plates that you put on the barbell, a set
Right.
of weights is about $6,000.
I had no idea.
Yeah, people don't. Well, I mean, we also, again, top of the line stuff that
Of
you can
course.
actually drop. I mean, you can always go cheap and buy like a $400 set as well. But
Right.
ours is just so when we're renting it out, we're like, wow, they're going to pay like $600, $700 a month just to rent out the equipment to be able to use at home. But people were lining up and doing it.
Wow, that was brilliant.
Yeah,
Absolutely brilliant.
so that helped. So what that did was that helped cover rent.
Right.
Essentially help cover rent, help cover some of the credit card expenses and all that kind of stuff. So that was good. And then the next thing we kind of did were like, well, at the first 2 weeks, I would say of COVID, first 2, 3 weeks, we're kind of like, all right, this is going to pass by. We don't have to do anything. We're just kind of like, oh, we were like, we didn't really think we didn't adapt. I think it was probably week 3, week 4, and we're like, all right, this thing is not stopping. What are we going to do? So we started implementing Zoom meetings every day. So 9 a.m. Every day, the whole team gets together. We meet for an hour, we brainstorm, we just trying to keep each other accountable. We do this thing called the one thing. And this thing is just, what is your one thing that you want to get done today? And that's just to help them build momentum. Whether it's a small task or a big task, we did this one thing. So everyone in the morning will come in, it's like, did I do this one thing? Yes or no? If not, why not? What is the one thing you want to do today? And then, is there anything that you need help on? So that's kind of what we did to run these meetings.
Wow.
And that's been kind of, I guess, helpful just to keep everyone kind of motivated. So
Sure.
like, yeah. So
And that's, all my studies, that's what I'm reading about more and more, is that employee engagement is just so hard, right? When you can't be together, you can't build that morale. So yeah, those daily touch points have to be really, really important.
Yeah. And it has to be kind of short too, because I found that for me, I'm having a huge Zoom fatigue. I think that's a term now.
Yes.
You're part of EO, so you understand. Like, I have a Zoom call, like at least 2 Zoom calls a day,
Right.
and it's pretty tiring. And I rather see people in person. My preference is seeing people in person, but we got to do what we got to do now.
Absolutely. And the thing I always laugh about is everybody starts their Zoom calls at an hour mark, right? But if
Yeah.
you're on one Zoom call that runs late, then it's this cascading effect. So I've started joking around. I think from now on, I'll make mine start like at 10:05 or 10:07, just to be different.
You should definitely do that. We actually we used to run our morning huddles at 8:15 or 8:10. I forgot the exact,
It just
but
keeps
it
everybody
wasn't on the
on
hour. Yeah, it's just like okay, like
their toes.
yeah.
Why not? Why not?
But people are actually more on time when I did that.
I could believe it because yeah, I could see that. I'm going
Yeah,
to go back. I'm going to do that. Well,
yeah.
so you've rented out your equipment. So
hmm
what about because we're talking about relationships and one-on-one. So how did you maintain the relationships with the people who had been coming in to train or who have rented your equipment? What are you doing there?
Fortunately, we don't have a huge member database, so we usually only have about 150 members, like
Uh-huh.
close-knit members a year. Then we also have some online and some remote stuff. Um, so it was easy for us to just pick up the phone and
Yeah.
call them. We've already implemented, fortunately, a year ago, we implemented WhatsApp groups. So we actually, for each member, they are on a WhatsApp group with our coaches and our massage, therapists, our nutritionists. So they're all inside one group and they communicate within that one group. So it's
Oh,
quite easy for us to just kind of message people, in their own respective groups and just ask them how are they doing, let's hop on a call or just simply pick up the phone. My business partner loves to just pick up the phone and call people. I tend to like the message because I feel like it's more efficient, but I do find that it's probably less genuine. So he's actually taught me just pick up the phone and call. So I've been actually calling. I think out of the 150 people, I would say I probably called about maybe 40, 50 of them, and he's probably called the rest.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
I
talking
think
to
that,
someone is more important. It's much
well, and
better.
I think we've kind of come to that anyway because we've gotten so used to texting and emailing. Even with my own staff, every once in a while I say, sometimes it's okay just to pick up the phone and ask somebody a question. This text or email volleyball we play sometimes where, I'm sending you a question and then I feel like I'm not accountable until I hear back from you. I think the phone call, it just stops that and it does build warmth and engagement. So I applaud you for that.
Yeah, I like it better because especially when you're also video calling someone or you're just regular calling someone, you can hear tone. Because
Right.
I find that emails and texts, like you can add an emoji, like like a smiley face and stuff like that, but how the other person takes it is completely different. Funny enough, I actually had an incident with one of the athletes that took my message the wrong way because I was just typing things and he took it the wrong way. And we got on a call and we sorted it all out. I was like, oh, I thought you meant this. I couldn't read the tone exactly, right?
Right.
It was just the way I phrased the question, and I was just typing too quickly. And then, anyways, I learned. Lesson learned,
Yeah.
right?
Lesson
Give
learned.
give the
Yeah.
person a call. Yeah.
It's true. So we've kind of talked about how you shifted and how you communicated. So we don't have a crystal ball, right?
hmm
We don't know when life is going to get back to normal, and we don't know what the new normal is. But I'm curious, given the changes that you've made and how successful they've been, do you plan on maybe still having equipment rental as part of your business model in the future when people return to the gym, or will you go back to the prior system? What are your thoughts going forward?
We're definitely going to go back to the prior system because I'm not going to buy additional equipment to stock the gym. But what we have done is that we started doing more online coaching.
Gotcha.
So that is something that we used to do, but only for athletes that have come to us for like a week. And
Mm-hmm.
then they usually go back to the US or the UK, wherever the case may be. And then we will write them programs and we kind of do online coaching. But now, um, we couldn't do it before because we thought like, oh, if they don't experience what it is to come into our facility and let us assess them and go through some of the stuff, they can't really do it, at home or at their local gym. So we kind of realized that, okay, this thing may last forever. And people may not want to go to the gym, or people may want to train closer. They don't want to drive. They're used to staying home now. So we are now reinvesting most of our resources and time to actually make online coaching work. So we've developed a way over the last couple of weeks of how to actually do online assessments, movement assessments. So we teach them exactly how to record the video, how to set up the camera, where to set it up, how to upload the video, and it's like a whole one smooth process. And we started creating online courses for our athletes, for even coaches that want to learn how we train. We started building online courses for them. So we've kind of pivoted in that. So, and that stuff we're going to keep, because you build it once and you can kind of reuse it.
Exactly.
So a lot of this, and we built a couple more kind of at-home programs. So people that are traveling, sometimes they work and they go to a hotel and they don't have a hotel gym. Here's a bunch of body weight stuff they can actually implement, and everything is tracked on an app. So we didn't build an app, we leveraged an app, but we built the programs on the app so then they can actually track the results and keep themselves kind of accountable. I find that people that don't have programs, they don't actually do anything.
Right.
They say they're going to do something, but chances are they won't do it. They get lazy. But if you put together a program for them and they see those indications that, hey, you got to work out today. This is what you got to work out on. Yeah. They will actually follow the program, and they're more motivated and they're more accountable. So that's been actually a really good thing, a good change for us.
Well, is there any other, future, and a lot of us say rocks, but is there any other future goals or something that you're still thinking and dreaming about? Or, I mean, you've got your plate full right now, but I was just curious if there was any other thoughts you had. You've mentioned quite a few.
Yeah, looking towards the future is really going to be changing the online coaching realm. We don't like to kind of come in and just kind of participate. We want to come in and dominate, right? So if we are going to do online coaching, we're going to do the best damn job there is, right?
Exactly,
right. Out there. And we want to, our whole thing is about creating athletes to dominate, and we want to create that kind of unfair advantage for athletes. So whatever we do online, we're going to try to do it. So whatever we do in person, we're going to try to mimic as much as possible online. So that means constant communication. That means constant video communication, and just making sure the intensity is good. And that's going to be the future, because we have the ability now and the technology to be able to work with any athlete around the world.
That's amazing.
So it's an eye opener for us. And it's something that I think is going to be a good game changer moving forward.
I would think so. And of course, I have to give a shout out to EO, which is a group that we both belong to. I'm an EO accelerator, which is the level below where you are. But it was fun to get to meet you through those circles. So, even I think COVID-19 has brought so many of us together in so many different ways that we couldn't have imagined. And so I'm just grateful for that organization. How long have you been in it?
I've been in it for 8 years now.
Wow.
Actually, because of EO, it actually sparked one of the ideas that I kind of had building this facility. I don't know if I mentioned to you before, but for athletes that can't truly afford us, can't pay the full fee, we actually create a foundation.
Oh, wow.
So what happens is that it's kind of like an agent where we get a certain percentage when they go pro.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
So then we kind of are vested interests, like we're invested in them. They go pro, they donate back money to the facility to fund the next generation of athletes. And we're trying to create this foundation in order to get it up to maybe about $5 million, whatever the case may be. So then every year we can actually provide scholarships, provide things for athletes. The thing for us is that our motto is we want to build athletes to dominate, right? And we want to create world champions. And that's kind of like, that's where we want to go. So in order to do that, you have to be almost like a full-time athlete. Part-time athlete, part-time results.
Right. Well, that's good.
So,
and that's the truth. Well, that's admirable, and does go right along with your business model. So
that's right, yeah. But that's the legacy I want to leave behind. And that's the legacy me and my partner want to leave behind. We want to create something that is a game changer.
Well, and thank you for sharing that story. I think I wanted to do this series because, the heart of humanity and how we express ourselves and how we rise to the occasion is really kind of the forefront during these tough times. Many of us, of course, I'm older than you, but a lot of us have not faced Well, I won't say we haven't faced hardships, but this may be the first time things have become extremely personal to a lot of us and affected our business and our livelihoods. And so to me, it was just important to start recording some of these stories and putting them out there just for people to get to hear and hopefully be inspired by. Certainly, COVID has been a horrible pandemic, and my heart's, and I'm sure your heart and your prayers go out to people too who've been affected. And there's just so many who have suffered during this time. But if we can bring any awareness to how with a mindset, we can still find ways to be successful, or to at least maybe cut back on some discomfort, that was important to me to get to tell these stories. So I don't know if you had any other last words that you wanted to share, but I am truly thankful that you were with us today.
No, I'm thankful for you to invite me onto this thing. It was great. I mean, if it wasn't for the EO Slack group,
I know.
I was like, yeah, it's how small, these things actually connect us all together and realize that how small the world is.
It really is. So, well, thank you again, Jeremy. I really have enjoyed having you as a guest, and we'll be sure that all your contact information, everything is provided to anybody who's watching this program. So thank you again, and we'll sign off for now. So thanks.
Sounds good.